How is it that we're 9 films into this franchise and we still don't have a single bad movie? Except for that one. But we all agree to forget about that one. Hey movie fans, so I just got back from seeing Creed 3, the 9th installment in the Rocky/Creed franchise, which honestly, after watching this movie, it is solely a Creed franchise. This is a Creed movie through and through, with little to no connection to Rocky and all the controversy that apparently has been brought up because of that. But as a movie, how does it stand on its own 2 feet without Sylvester Stallone looking over its shoulder and newcomer to the director's chair, Michael B. Jordan, taking over? Honestly, for a first-time outing for a director, this is pretty darn impressive. Michael B. Jordan, I tip my cap to you, because Creed 3, I had high expectations for, like I said. Other than that one Rocky movie that we all collectively agree to forget, I enjoy/love every single Rocky/Creed movie. So I was going, alrighty, you got a high bar to clear here, kid. And it's his first movie. And I think he does a spectacular job. Is it perfect? No, it is a first movie after all. He makes some big swings that I completely applaud him for. Some land, some don't. So let's talk Creed 3 positives, negatives, and we'll round it out with some positives. I already said at the beginning, but Michael B. Jordan absolutely crushes this. He is taking Adonis on such a fantastic journey, like where we first meet him in the first Creed movie to where he is now. I think it's so cool to see him grow up. Now he's a father. It's many years past Creed 2, so now we get more of a much older daughter in this situation, so he's got fatherhood, he's in retirement. I like where his character is, but you never lose sight of that character that you loved from the first 2. His performance is the most nuanced I think it's ever been. There's a lot that he asks of himself as a performer, but I think I was more enamored with his performance this time around as a director. He's got such an interesting visual style that right off the bat I'm going, ooh, those are some really interesting and dynamic shots. The way he shoots things, the way things are structured and organized, or just the way scenes come together, I think are really, really fascinating, interesting. I continue to praise him and Tessa Thompson's chemistry. I think they have a fantastic rapport. I really just love what Tessa Thompson's Bianca character brings to the table. I really love the dynamic that they have. They just feel like a genuine couple and not a movie couple, so to speak. They're allowed to grow and evolve as a couple, as you do in these movies. I really like their daughter. But the real acting-wise MVP in this movie has to be Jonathan Majors. So leading up to this movie, after seeing a lot of the trailers, I made fun of this movie a lot, comparing it to one of my all-time favorite movies, 2010's Warrior, starring Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy. Admittedly, at the beginning aspects of this movie, there's quite a bit of Warrior-isms, but once the main story and the main rivalry gets put in motion, the Warrior stuff kind of goes to the wayside and it becomes its own thing. But it's not completely devoid of Rocky-isms. There's definitely some themes and parallels to previous Rocky movies that, while are not overt, there's still nice touches for diehard fans to be able to point out and be like, that shares some similarities to this Rocky movie. I won't say which, because I might give some stuff away. Go into this blind. There's 1 or 2 surprises in here that I was going, oh wow, that's pretty cool. That gets me to some of my negatives. There are some surprises in here that I don't know if they always fully work. Without jumping too much into spoilers, there's certain things that happen to certain characters that I don't know if in the broad context of the movie they really land to the effect that Michael B. Jordan, the director, was kind of hoping they would. Like, yes, they are effective in the moment, but after that, those actions are never really dwelt on again, and they don't really come into play later. That I'm just kind of going, okay, this is supposed to be a much bigger moment than it is, and it was okay, but not as resonant as I would think they're kind of hoping for. I also think at times this movie feels like it's flying by, but not in a good way. I think it's paced brilliantly for the first half, but once we start getting into the training montage and getting ready into the final fight, I'm going, oh, we're already at this point. That could either be a good thing or a bad thing, and this could just be an uber nitpick on my part, and if that is, totally fine with me. I go to Rocky/Creed movies for a engaging and interesting story, but I'm also there for training montages and to watch two grown men just punch the ever-living crap out of each other. And I don't necessarily think that the training sequences and the final fight are the franchise's best. The training montage in particular, I was just going, oh, that's it for this one? We've had better, both with Rocky and with Creed. It felt like the training montage was more of an obligation than something they get to do. And while I didn't hate the final fight, I think the build up to the final fight was better and more emotionally cathartic than the fight itself. It wasn't as impactful as I was kind of hoping for. I will applaud, and this goes back to some positives here, what Michael B. Jordan does with the final fight and the fights in general. He does very unique and stylized things. He keeps the fights fresh compared to what we've seen in previous Creed and Rocky movies. It feels very, very different. I had heard going into it that Michael B. Jordan was heavily influenced by anime, and I was going, I'm curious to see what that means for a boxing movie. After seeing this movie, oh yeah, my man was influenced by some anime, and I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing, but there are certain aspects to the final fight that I could see people going either way with it, of really, really enjoying it, or it kind of taking them out a little bit. I kind of dug what he was going for, but it felt like both the training montage and the final fight were over a lot faster than they probably should have been. But all the build up to those moments were great. Great character moments, great tension. This is the most personal villain we've gotten in a Rocky or Creed movie. I'd make the case of this is a very tense and awkward relationship that these two men have, but it is built off brilliant performances by Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. This is just his year. I think they both bring a lot to the table. I think it was okay when they finally butt heads, but I don't know if it was as good as the tension that they were building up, ramping to that moment, if that makes sense. Lastly, and the biggest compliment that I can give this movie is, this isn't a spoiler, but Rocky's not in it. Sylvester Stallone has had a very public falling out with the people behind the scenes. I don't think Michael B. Jordan, but like higher ups besides that, like Erwin Winkler, the producer, whatnot. He is not in this movie, but the spirit of Rocky is still present in this movie. This is absolutely where Michael B. Jordan takes the Creed franchise and goes, okay, I'm comfortable on my own 2 feet now. I'm an adult. This is my franchise now. Rocky is still a treasured memory. It'll be one of the most beloved franchises of all time. But now Creed, I don't think is in the Rocky shadow anymore. I think it's solely its own thing, while still paying homage to what came before it. This is a Creed movie through and through, but it still has the heart, the beating heart and essence of a Rocky story. And I think that was excellently done. Michael B. Jordan, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you do next, both as an actor, but now, more specifically, as a director. I think he's got a real knack for this. He seems like an absolute student of directing. There's a lot of things I was just going, wow, this is very impressive for a first time out. The movie's not perfect. I wouldn't even say it's my favorite Creed movie, but it is a darn impressive movie. It is a very great thing that Michael B. Jordan has accomplished. This is a big feat that he's pulled off, so my hat's off to him, everyone involved, Tessa Thompson, Jonathan Majors. This movie is really, really great. It is something special, and I look forward to whatever Michael B. Jordan does next. Well, what did you guys think? Did you like Creed 3? Is it your favorite, or is it your least favorite? Where does it kind of fall in your Creed rankings, your Rocky rankings? Let me know down in the comments below, as I hear your comments. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. That's our big goal that we're trying to reach. And did you know we have the Uncharted Media Podcast? If you want to know my thoughts on the latest movie news and some movie topics, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for Uncharted Media Podcast. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.